What's up, everybody? We are back. Took a little brief hiatus from the Cafecito and Kane show, and we're back to regularly scheduled programming. And we had to bring in a good one. We had to bring in the big guns as far as a guest. Uh, Mike McCoy joining us for the first time in a few months. It's been a minute. So how have you been, man?
Man, I'm good, man. Been busy like everybody else.
Mhm.
Got some things going on that I'm really excited about that I'll let some people know in a little bit. Pretty sure things are gonna go through for me, but blessed, man, blessed.
Nice, man. Yeah, I know you shared a couple of those things with me off camera just now. So yeah, again, man, congrats. That's
Thank you,
awesome.
man.
But lots to talk about, not just football wise, but Hurricanes athletic wise. And
Yeah, baby.
I know you got you've told us all before. You don't just love Canes football. You don't just you love University of Miami like
Yes,
everything.
sir.
So let's talk some hoops for a quick minute.
Do it, man. Do it, man.
Man, this is now the third Sweet 16 run for Jim Laranega since when was he hired? 2011, 2012?
2011 by Sean. That was his first name? Eichhorst, whatever.
That's right.
AD we had. I think his first name was Sean.
I believe so. I believe you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was hired by him. It was between him and what's his name that coached at Miami High.
Was it?
He's at South Carolina right now, or was at South Carolina. Forgot his name. And Kansas State. He was at Kansas State, then he was at South Carolina. The name escapes me right now, but he also coached at Miami High. Let's see if somebody in the chat says it. I can't.
Someone will say it in a second. Yeah.
Yeah. Frank Martin. There we go.
Okay. Yeah.
It was between Laranega and Frank Martin, and we went with Laranega, which was obviously a good hire.
Yeah, I mean, neither one would have been a bad hire, especially at the time. But man,
Yes.
Jim Laranega, there was a lot of controversy around him at this time last year because we were down to one scholarship player, I think, at one point, and I never thought that was his fault personally because
me neither.
He went through the Adidas thing. I think it was Adidas, right? Not that whole probe, and it ended up being really nothing. There was nothing that they could prove that Miami was involved in anything.
Right.
And I think we had like 3 4-star recruits like committed at the time, and they all decommitted. So that set us back.
I wrote an article about it a couple of weeks ago. I was trying if I knew we were going to run into this, I would have had it up. It had some details in it about, just like you said, about a year ago. Curry Canes, yes, I did. Graduated December 2020. We had a couple guys that are in the NBA right now, okay? Committed, and not committed, about to commit, really interested in, coming here. And then the bomb drops, and then, one went to North Carolina. I think one was Little. I forget his first name.
Mm-hmm.
He went to UNC. One ended up going to Kentucky. I think it was Maxey ended up going to Kentucky. And another one ended up going to Syracuse. All, like I said, 2 of those 3 are in the NBA right now. And then even the parents of one of those coaches, no. Sorry about that. Even the parents of one of those coaches absolved Miami. They're like, no, Miami had nothing to do with it. Whatever. Coach L was in deep trouble. But that accompanied with injuries, injuries really was 2 years in a row, and people were all on Coach L's butt. And I thought it was unwarranted because you can't control it. You could only coach what you have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we had a surprise, somewhat of a deep run last year in the ACC tournament. But look what you have when you have all these transfers and healthy guys. Coach L didn't forget how to coach, guys. He all that unwarranted heat was exactly that, unwarranted.
Totally agree. It seems like you just give him a veteran point guard and some experience, a couple guys that can shoot, and he throws together a tournament run out of nowhere.
Man. Yeah, man. No, it's exciting, dude. I love it. Yeah,
he's consistently done it now. I just want to see what he can do when he lands a couple of, a 4-star, a 5-star, a one-and-done caliber guy like a Lonnie Walker who's healthy, and we, put together a real title run. That being said, do you see – obviously Coach L's getting up there in age. Right. Unfortunately, I wish he could be here another 20 years. But do you think in the next few years, like in the time he has left coaching at Miami, that he's going to take us to a Final Four, maybe even a national championship game? Do you think that'll happen?
With as unpredictable as college basketball can be. I mean, look at St. Pete right now. They're in the Sweet 16 for crying out loud. You really can't say no. And that's the beauty of sports. That's why they play the games, how they like to say, how Chris Berman likes to say, on ESPN or whatever. But of course it could happen. They play in one of, or there you go, Tyrese Maxey out of Texas, and he went to Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken. And he's with Philly right now. Balling. All right. He was this close to committing. And I forget the other guy whose last name is Little. He plays with Portland right now. But what was I going to say? Yeah, it could definitely happen. Caputo is going to coach. I think I'm pronouncing it right. Chris Caputo. He's probably going to be the incumbent unless he leaves before that, which to me, I think it's perfect. But, people want to play for Coach L. People want to come to Miami. NIL is a thing now. I think it actually happened. I think so. And then if you think about it, with that, then the second year that he was coaching here, 2012, we had the ACC tournament championship and the ACC regular season championship. He did that with a senior-laden group. That's hard to come around every time in college basketball. So we'll see, man. I hate one and done personally. I think it's bad, but it's exciting when you have whatever. But it's hard. I mean, look at Kentucky now. I was having this conversation with Max a couple of days ago on the chat, and I think it's hard for places like Kentucky and those big time places where you have all these one and done guys because it's a turnover in roster. And I think the best way to win in college sports is when you have that experience. Like let's take football for example. That's why Iowa's good every 4 years, because they have seniors every 4 years. They stick around. They're not good enough to leave after their second year or whatever. But it can happen, man. We just got to see what type of guys we land. And there's top 50 guys interested in Miami every year out of high school.
Yeah, man. And we just landed, look, I think I'm looking at the right year, 2022, AJ Casey, 6'8" power forward, number 67 recruit in the nation. We usually don't land that caliber of a guy.
Yeah, man.
Favior Ayer, I think I'm pronouncing it right, 6'11" center. Yeah, top 100 guy, then Christian Watson and Delino Janovic.
And then the thing with the guys that you just described, they have something that Miami doesn't have right now. And that's a lot of height. Okay. Look what Miami's doing with an average height of 6'1". Their average height in the starting lineup is 6. It was either 6'1" or 6'3". I can't remember. I mentioned that in one of my articles as well. Wow. And they're beating teams with an average starting height in their starting lineup of 6'6". So
that's crazy. I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just keep Coach L. I mean, he just signed an extension. Just keep him there a little longer. Have him stack a couple of these classes. We could be a very consistent Sweet 16 top Elite 8 team. Which
I don't see why not, man. Kids love winning, and I mean that's what it takes. We got the staff. I was thinking about the staff earlier, and I kind of compared to when Riley was prepping Spoelstra after so many years. That's kind of what I like in this situation too right now in Miami.
Yeah. I mean, they play the same. They play a similar way. They play hard, tough defense, turning turnovers into baskets. I love it. But anyway, switching gears now to football. We got spring practice starting up again yesterday. They just came back from spring break. What did you think of? Well, first of all, what did you think of them giving like 3 practices and then a week off? Do you think that was on purpose? Do you think 3 practices was enough to kind of evaluate some guys and like use that week to decide, okay, we have a better idea. Who are we thinking of keeping and not? Do you think they used the week for that?
I think they definitely used the week to. I think they wanted to give the guys like a taste. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not give them too much and maybe not like overwhelm them. Even though the guys sounded like, let's go, like, honeymoon period. We're excited. Oh my God, these practices and these workouts. I love them. They're great, blah, blah, blah. But I think another reason for it, because I'm not inside or anything like that, was we're thin right now, man. At a lot of key spots. Well, some guys are coming back, but maybe they wanted to kind of hold the reins back a little bit because they didn't want to get guys, hurt with the offseason conditioning and everything like that, because Feld isn't messing around either. That's a new program to them too. And the winter conditioning program, according to Mario, and I should have had my cafecito as well, damn it. Mm-hmm. According to Mario, you cannot win without the fourth quarter program. So it's intense. And so that's my thinking. Again, I have no idea, what it's just from the outside looking in, how maybe how I look at it, but I trust anything that the staff does Okay, anything that they say, because they've been around the block, they're experienced. You got Hall of Famers on the staff giving their FYIs, and guys that know as much as anybody. You're talking about. Look, I don't think this is the fan in me talking, but I literally think Miami has like a top 3 to 5 staff in the country. Definitely the top staff in the ACC.
Without a doubt, especially with Venables gone now from Clemson.
Yep.
A lot of that staff has changed. Dabo, I still hold in high regard as far as like a program builder, but he lost a big chunk of that culture losing Brent Venables. I think we're top ACC for sure. It's hard to name 5 staffs on paper better than ours. It really is. So,
and the thing with our staff is not only are they good coaches and teachers, but they're good recruiters. You're talking about all of them, starting from Mario onto the position coaches, and then when you say, oh, by the way, off the staff we have 2 Hall of Famers, the best safety to ever do it, and one of the best defensive ends to ever do it. It's like, what? And Jason Taylor, I read in some article today, was actually on the field at Green Tree, kind of working with the DNs. Hello.
Yeah, I saw a picture of him. This was from last week. A picture of him like in a UM hoodie next to Roland Smith wearing like UM stuff. I'm like, this is surreal. Like,
yes, bro. We're not used to this. We're
not
used to this.
Yeah. Let's see. Les has a question. Guys, which coach of all the coaches will have on? Wait, let me read that again. Which coaches of all the coaches we'll have on staff will have the most effect on the players? What do you think?
I was talking about this. I forgot. I think it was on Max's show a couple of weeks ago. And me personally, there's no wrong answer, because there were a couple positions that we could use help at, and they didn't perform to the best of their ability last year. But to me, it's Charlie Strong at linebacker, and I'll tell you why. When we hired him, I automatically thought about his time at obviously Louisville, and when Louisville was doing their thing, they were making a bit of noise. They had a lot of They had a lot of South Florida talent, right? And if you look at the linebackers on that team, or on the teams that he coached, they were linebackers that were pretty much the same size as the guys that we have right now. Like 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot, guys that are in that 200, 215, 220 range. So that he's used to working with guys, in that stature, number one. Number two, he's been a defensive guy. He's been a head coach. He knows linebackers. And I just think it's a match made in heaven, because he's a linebacker coach. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think that there's any other title attached to his name. He's strictly worried about linebackers. And am I right about that?
I think so. I mean, there was a rumor of co-D coordinator, but I think he's just linebacker coach.
There you go. So that guy has one job, and he can recruit. So I think that's it's perfect. And these rumors about another linebacker coming through in the portal, we'll see how accurate they are. And then Wes Besant, I read an article earlier today that said that he was flying to the ball on screen passes. So listen, to me, it's strong, but you can't go wrong with Mirabal. You can't go wrong with I always forget how to pronounce the cornerback coach's name that we got from Georgia. You can't go wrong, man.
Jamil Adai.
Adai, there you go. There's no wrong answer. It's just the first one I thought about was Strong.
Yeah. And it was actually, you just made me think of something. I saw the little clip that they showed it was by Canes football. These coaches telling them a little bit about why they came to Miami. Jamil Adai's video, there was that clip of him at West Virginia playing one-on-one against Andre Johnson in that rainy Thursday night game. I remember that game. And he said he was a 16-year-old freshman in that game. I'm like, what?
Poor guy.
Poor kid. Hey, that might have set him up to what he became. So yeah, no, there's tough to find a wrong answer. I mean, for me, I agree. I think it's Strong, and Mirabal's a very close second. Mirabal, while he hasn't coached very much in big programs,
right.
He spent some time in Oregon, obviously,
right.
But the guy's as South Florida as it gets.
Oh yeah, man.
And he brings that culture, helps bring that culture. So
I was listening to a clip of him before we got on, and they were he was talking about the O-line, and to me, everybody on this staff comes off to me as somebody that doesn't give you an answer that you want to hear, and someone that doesn't sugarcoat, and someone that is just a straight shooter, right? They're not going to BS you. And I said that to say this. They were asking him about the line and their progress. Like he used the word impressed. And I'm like, really? Because we all know how the offensive line, looked the past couple of years. And for a guy that is considered to be one of the best O-line or the best O-line coach in the nation, depending on who you ask to, him using the word impressed, I'm like, is that coach speak? I'm like, it can't be coach speak, because this staff, they're not going to give us stuff they want. They do, and to me, everybody on this staff is someone that's hard to impress. So he used that word, and I was like, what? Like, okay. And then he from left to right, the guys are right now, they're Zion. I think Traore is playing, Usman Traore is playing one of the guards. I think Jakai's at center. The other guard, I can't remember who. And then he said he's been in the mix, but he wasn't on the first group out. He wasn't on the first group. And then the right tackle was Scaife. And then he mentioned Scaife, and specifically they asked him what about him. He mentioned Scaife's head, his brain. And he was like, I like him because he's a learner and he's very teachable. And I could tell him something in the classroom, he's going to go and apply it right there. So if Scaife, I won't be surprised to see Scaife, trotting out at right tackle as a starter for the season opener, if he considers that to be a trait that he likes in players.
Yeah, no, definitely. And the way that we're going to be run blocking, it's going to be way more complex.
Yeah.
So it's going to be totally different from when they played the last couple of years. It's not that vanilla, just block the dude in front of you and that's it. It's going to be a lot of pulling, and which, as it should be. Running the ball is more complex than it looks.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, if it were me, I would love to see. I mean, if it's Scaife, it's Scaife. That's genuinely the best guy. But I would love to see John Campbell, who has a little more size to him. If Justice Oluwaseun, who has a lot of size, emerges, even better. Because I need me some size on that O-line, because that's one thing we've, in certain spots we've been lacking the last few years.
I hear that. Rivers and Campbell's been kind of slow. But I think I read somewhere today maybe, that I think both of those were either available or like coming off of injury. I think they were out of their red non-contact jerseys. And what's up, Zach? And that's great news, because Rivers, before he went out he went out in the Alabama game, I think? He was like,
he went out. No, he played a couple games, I think.
A couple games? Okay. He was looking like the best O-lineman, whenever he did go out. So
yeah,
that's great news.
Yeah. And I know we're all kind of waiting to see what happens with Isaiah Walker. That's kind of, I would take that as gravy, as extra, awesome. That's something we didn't expect. He's got to get, he's got to get his stuff, in his personal life in order first.
For sure. When you have a situation with somebody like that, like they're, not mentally there or feel like they have other things going on, that's a priority.
Yeah, for sure. Real quick, I had a question in mind that I wanted to ask you, because there are so many injuries right now. It feels like half the team is out. So they're just and a lot of key guys too, nursing some, shoulders and ankles, nothing like serious. Nobody's blown out an ACL that I know of. But with so many injuries, I mean, what are you hoping to see the rest of the spring or hear about? What are you hoping to see in the spring game? What are you hoping to see in general?
It's been kind of underwhelming for me the past couple, especially last spring, because last spring I think it was like the same thing. There was plenty of injuries. But I mean, the good thing is you get to see guys that probably wouldn't have gotten as many reps. Okay, cool, whatever. But what I'm hoping to see, I'm hoping that guys heal up. I heard Romello was either off his red non-contact jersey today in practice or really, really close to coming back. There's a lot of guys, like I said, Rivers, Campbell. I read in that article as well, Brinson, but there was a couple of guys. We know Roberts went out with an ankle like day one of camp. But what I want to see is if guys are healthy to play, okay, go ahead and play them on the spring game. But we know we're not going to see a lot because it's the spring game and it's going to be vanilla, at least offensively, right? It always is. But just continuity, man. Just continuity. If Mirabal is impressed with the O-line, again, he used the word impressed. If he's impressed with the O-line, then we should be, right? We should be. That defensive line shouldn't be eating all spring game line. So all spring game long, I should say. So I want to see that because again, when he used that word, I was just like, what? Because again, that's like probably the main position last year that we were kicking our own ass in the old line. Like we couldn't do much, later on the year it looked better. But so if that's how he feels, that's the number one thing. And the other part is all these running backs, man. I heard that Cody wasn't seen at practice today. And it kind of sucks. I mean, we always kind of thought that there was going to be maybe one or two running backs that may hit the portal, especially after getting Parrish, and then we got Citizen coming in a couple weeks.
Right.
But he hasn't been there. I want to see how they're going to split carries. I know that a couple guys are still hurt. I think Chaney's still out, right?
Yes.
Bruce hasn't been playing. So, but I still want to see the young guys. The receivers have been getting better. I know that they were kind of had a case of the dropsies the first couple of days of camp. So I want to see how that comes through because we can't have that, man. We cannot have that. Like we can't. We need this offense to work. Everybody's got to be doing their part. So I just want to see smooth sailing, no injuries, and good news.
Yeah. Agreed. Before I go to the wide receivers, let's answer Mitch's question. Basically saying if Miami has an unexpectedly bad season, 7-8 wins, we're kind of a disappointment. What do you think? What do you think causes that? If that happens?
What do I think causes it? I'm going to give a really sorry excuse of an answer. I think it's going to be getting used to new systems because I don't think there is an excuse. I don't think there is an excuse, to be honest with you, because yes, there's going to be a new system to learn offensively, somewhat of a new system to learn defensively. Okay. But these guys are, when I say these guys, I mean, these coaches are going to put players, number one, the best players out there, the best 11, and they're going to put players in the best position to succeed. We're not going to see like we saw, because I swear to God, I went to that bowl game that we lost to Louisville in when Al Golden was coaching, and I saw Quan Muhammad covering a slot receiver. I promise to God, I saw that. Okay, we're not going to see stuff like that. We're not going to see.
I'm not shocked.
We were cringing last year whenever we saw a linebacker in the open field because a linebacker in the open space of Miami was not cool. And when the hell have we said that in history? You know what I'm saying? But I don't think there's an excuse, even though there are a turnover in coaches. You got the spring for that. You got the summer for that. It's on the players, I think, to take ownership and responsibility and accountability to get better. You're here. You got hella talent around you. It's up to you. You got to do all the extra stuff in the off. You got to be the first one in, last one out. Go to the jug. Stay late. Eat right, be disciplined, man. You want to make it to the next level. You signed here. Miami's going to get better in the next couple of years. But if I had to give a sorry excuse of an answer, it'd be getting used to the system.
If I had to give an answer, it would be, I don't know. The D line just does not get themselves right. Like just the run stopping in general is a problem this year because the lack of. And it's not really lack of talent. It's not like we don't have guys there that could make plays. It's just the DNs. It's a bit of a drop off from a couple years ago.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah,
I'm a little nervous about the D line. Aside from one guy, who I'm talking about, Leonard Taylor. He's gonna dominate. But aside from that, I'm a little iffy on everybody else. But we'll see if everybody else picks up the slack. And here's the thing: It seems like this has been the case for 17 years now, but even with the horrible schemes that don't match the players we have, even with the bad game preparation, we're always like one win away from winning the Coastal. Like every season, it's always like a missed field goal here, a drop pass there. Man, if that had happened, we win the Coastal, even with all the stuffs, in the locker room, in the background. But
I hear that. No, you're facts all across the board. What I will say about the D line is this, and I say this every year, all right, because it's true. It's true. And we have it, but we don't have it all the time. And what I'm talking about is that guy, and we only need one. I say this every time it comes up because it's 100% true. You need just one defensive tackle to wreak havoc on a consistent basis, because you do that and we know we got the speed, we know we got talent or whatever at linebacker to let them roam or whatever. You get that one guy that can man a double team. I think we will have a much better feeling about the defensive line than we do right now, because defensive ends, they pop out of nowhere all the time in this defense. Greg Rousseau came out of nowhere. I can't say Jalen Phillips because we knew what we were getting when he transferred him. Rousseau came out of nowhere. Garvin came out of nowhere. I know these were highly touted guys that were recruited, not so much Rousseau. Garvin was, but still, he came out of nowhere. What was the other defensive lineman out of Gulliver? I think Dallas had picked them up. I can't remember. It was right after Garvin. What was his name?
After Garvin. Not Joe Jackson.
Garvin. Who? What'd you say?
Not Joe Jackson.
Joe Jackson, yes. He came like his first year. Like it was like, oh, okay.
Double-digit sacks his first year, yeah.
Like, what the hell? So we always have that guy. And we have guys that are ballers. It's just unproven, like that unproven talent. So the Ishmaels that are there right now, we'll see, man. Somebody's going to break loose on that defensive end position, but we need that one defensive tackle to wreak havoc. And I think that if that happens, I think we'll be feeling better about the situation.
That I think we do have in Leonard Taylor.
Right.
Hopefully.
Right.
Let's see if he takes that next step.
Right.
Negus, real quick, let's answer his question. John, Mike, now seeing that the players have taken to the new staff so well with this group of proven developers, what games do you see as our toughest? One away game and one home game. I'll field this one first. I think the tougher of the road games, like those two big road games, is going to be Clemson because it's going to be down the stretch. We're going to be banged up late in the season. I think it's going to be much easier for them to get up for that College Station Texas A&M game because it's going to be early season. It's going to be hot, which we're used to. We're going to be healthy, hopefully. Right. So it's we haven't gone through the rigors of the season, so it's going to be easy for them to get up for that game, and they're not going to have much film on us. So it would not shock me one bit if we beat them. Clemson at the end of the season against Dabo Swinney, that's going to be much tougher.
That's true.
As far as a home game, man, I expect us to go undefeated at home, honestly, but we'll probably slip up once. I think it's going to be probably – we faced Virginia Tech at home last year.
Looking at the schedule now, the home games are Bethune, Southern Miss, Middle Tennessee, UNC, Duke, FSU, and Pitt.
I see Pitt probably. The FSU game is going to be tough. I know people don't want to hear that, but it's going to be tough. Hopefully, we pull away late in that game. Hopefully, we beat them by 80. Whatever. I just hope we win. It's probably FSU or Pitt. Probably Pitt, I would say. What do you think?
I'm with you on the Clemson part because of it being later in the year, and so many things can happen in the year. We can get worse. We can get better. They can get worse. They can get better. The part that you said about film is 100% true. And a lot of people are writing off Clemson. I have no idea why. Guys, Clemson won 10 games last year. They looked like crap doing it in the beginning, but they won 10 games last year. So, they lost a lot. Yeah, we're still going to see what we're going to see what Dabo's really made of in terms of, not having all these all-star casts around him, but they still got talent there. That's number one. They got a dog at quarterback. I don't understand why that offense was struggling as much as it did, last year with all the talent around it, but whatever. I guess losing a generational quarterback helps, but I agree with Clemson and a home one. Oh man. I would say UNC, but I think that's going to be different. I want to say FSU because as much as I hate to admit it, I have a lot of respect for that rivalry because both teams can absolutely suck every year, okay? And it could be a dogfight, all right? Look at last year. We thought we were going to blow the doors off of them because we scored 50 on them 2 years ago down here, all right? And look what ended up happening, right? So I guess the default answer, I'd say FSU. I don't really mean that by heart, but because I'm looking at the schedule, and that's probably, the one right there. But then I look at the other side of the scripts, and Mario, this is his first year as a coach. You know that he doesn't want to be anybody else more than he wants to be at FSU, being a former player. It's homecoming. They schedule the sorriest teams of the home schedule every year for homecoming. So that tells you how much they think about FSU this year. So for me, it's between UNC and FSU. I think Pitt, I don't think that's going to be an issue for us. I hope I'm right. But for me, it'll be FSU or UNC.
Yeah, even though UNC did lose Sam Howell and a lot of that NFL talent, Matt Brown is still there. They recruit very well right now, so they might have just replaced Sam Howell. Who knows?
Right.
But speaking of homecoming, I remember I was at the 2002 game. I don't know if you were a student already. The 2002 game against FSU.
I was in high school.
Okay. I was also in high school. I was a sophomore.
Okay.
And I remember that game was homecoming. And I remember thinking back then, I'm like, wait, don't they?
Wow.
I mean,
really? I didn't know that.
But remember, this was 2002. This was Dorsey and Vilma and McGahee. Right. It's like, it didn't matter. Schedule, USC, Oklahoma at the time. It didn't matter.
Right.
That's how cocky we were. But even back then, I was like, man, I would have made it like one of the crappy teams just to make sure,
That was the 2002 game. That was when McGahee caught that screen pass, right? That one?
McGahee caught the screen pass, and I thought the Orange Bowl was going to collapse. And then, the wide left by Bethia, who was talking a lot of crap. I remember going into that game.
Magical, bro. Magical.
Yes. Let's see. TVD is the leader who leads by example, but who do you think is the O and D leader who leads vocally and holds people accountable, like the linebacker from Georgia who called out a teammate during the college football championship, I'm guessing is what he means. Yeah. You take this one. Who do you think are the other leaders besides TVD?
Besides TVD, I'll start with defense first. So defensively, I want it to be Leonard Taylor. Because I want a trenches guy to be the leader because he's a trenches guy. You're a big guy, strong guy. And I know physical looks don't have nothing to do with it because Ed Reed was one of the smaller guys on the team and he was the emotional and vocal leader. Cool. But I want it to be Leonard Taylor. I think it's going to be James Williams. Especially the way he's been kind of talking up things a couple weeks ago. Because I don't know if you guys saw it. He said Miami's going to be Miami this year. Like it was in a headline in one of the articles. And I said, okay, here we go. And that kid bleeds Miami. Like you saw it. Like he plays like it. He wears Miami on his shoulder, in his heart. And he is Miami through and through. So if anyone should be a leader, it's somebody with that type of Miami in them. I like James Williams on defense. On offense, you're telling me somebody other than TVD. Whew. This is not going to be a popular pick. I'm going to go with a homer. I have a soft spot for Mallory. I don't know why. I think he's gotten a lot. It's been, I understand why, but I'm pulling for the guy to shut a bunch of people up, man, because he has the ability. And when him and Brevin came in their freshman year, I heard a lot of people saying, oh, this guy is going to be a better tight end than Brevin Jordan. I was like, what? You're crazy. And he can be, all right? He can be. Has the measurables, has the speed. This is a guy that when he was a senior in high school, he came in third in the state championship meet in the 110-meter hurdles. That's a tough race to win, right? He's not the most vocal guy, but what I think he has going for him is this is his money year. This is like it for him. Like you got to do it. It's now or never. So a lot of guys tend to turn the corner when it's their money year. So we'll see. I see a lot of guys saying X. That's probably going to be it.
Yeah, I agree with X on offense. I can't really think of a better person. James Williams, I love on defense. I love the way he's been talking, and we absolutely know he can back it up. If he just wraps up when he puts a shoulder into somebody, that's all I'm concerned about. If he just puts guys on the ground, I mean, he's going to make so many plays this year.
Yeah, man, he is.
And God, it's baffling to me that he played one snap against Appalachian State, but that's in the past. We won't talk about that.
It is.
Let's see. Ken saying Blades. I hope Blades finds a role on this team this year. That's all I hope for him. Birds don't.
That's a team first guy right there, man. If you're not rooting for him, then I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. But I think we're going to see him at safety a little bit sometimes this year, maybe. I know he's been playing in the nickel some. But that guy is all heart. That guy is literally a team first guy. He will do whatever it takes. If you ask him to hold the water bottle and the clipboard all game long, he'll do it with as much pride as he is tackling somebody. And I love that.
Yeah. Canes all day saying X or the new running back from Ole Miss, Henry Parrish.
Why not?
Henry Parrish has been playing his ass off from what I'm hearing in spring, with a couple guys out. He's literally and figuratively taking the ball and running with it, from what I'm hearing.
You know what? And thanks 908 Canes all day, because he just made me think. Thad was getting a lot of love from the coaches the first couple days of practices. And a running back as a leader is not a bad thing. You're talking about a guy that's probably going to get a lot of touches. Thad has supposedly taken things seriously over, a shift in attitude, and his body's looking different. And let's not forget, this is a guy that was wanted by a whole bunch of people. He's one of those, I like to call him a Wisconsin running back, because you just look at him and it's like, that's the type of guy that will get 1,500 yards at Wisconsin, like right now, if you look at it. So I'm thinking Thad could be a dark horse, leader along with X and TVD.
Agreed. Thad is he's a guy I kind of forget about sometimes, because he's one of those guys you don't need to really make a hole for him. He'll make his own.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, he's very, very tough to bring down. If he comes in shape and discipline, oh boy, he may steal some snaps from whoever's starting. Honestly, like I think that highly of him if he's got his head on right.
Right, that's a Mack truck right there.
Yeah. All right. So switching gears to the wide receivers now. So obviously we brought in Frank Ladson. This is now the third straight year or fourth straight year or whatever we bring in a transfer, because it was KJ Osborne who just came in and kind of outclassed everybody. He just took that role as the leader. Charleston Rambo came in after that, took the reins as the leader, like clear cut, not even close.
Right.
And now we see Frank Ladson. I would love it if he comes in and does the same thing, but I don't want it to be because everyone else sucks or just not sucks, but just doesn't produce like they should. Like I know they can, like the last guys before the three amigos and all of them. But I think now we have the talent that I think they can at least close that gap, and maybe some other guy can come in and take the reins as the leader. I don't know. What do you think? You think it's going to just be a repeat of that, or you think this receiver group has now closed the gap and they're all kind of on the same level?
I think this receiver group is on paper, all right, and it's unproven because we haven't seen it, but on paper and what we've seen in high school, and we see what we saw Frank Ladson do, at Clemson in his limited, role or whatever, this is a kick-ass wide receiving core. And what I like about it is your second or third wide receiver can very well be a starter on this team. And so they're going to be pushed. Those first guys are going to be pushed. They're going to be pushed. They're going to be pushed. They're going to be pushed. And that's part of the template of what made us great, because it was harder on Greentree than it was at the OB, when we would play there on Saturdays or Thursdays or Fridays, whatever it was. Yeah. So I think that's going to be the thing to end for everybody talking about leaders. I don't think that Van Dyke is going to have it. I don't think he's going to have it. I think he's going to be holding guys, accountable this time. Well, not this time, but this year, because he knows he's up for the Heisman. He could be, he's going to be mentioned at least at the beginning of the season on guys, one of the best quarterbacks coming back. So I hope and pray that he's one of those guys that gets in the face of receivers and demands that respect. Like, hey, look, we can't have this. You know what I'm saying? So I think on paper, our talent-wise, the receivers, I don't think there's going to be a drop-off. I honestly don't think there's going to be a drop-off, because we got everything. We got speed. We got guys that can go over the top. We got height at the position, at least not really, consistently, but one guy, Ladson, he's one guy that's a red zone threat. Arroyo's not a tight end, but he's a guy you could put in the red zone, to flank out wide and be a red zone threat. But I'm not worried about the receivers. I know that they had, the case of the dropsies towards the beginning of camp. But these coaches are going to demand perfection, man. And if you're not getting it right, they're not going to give you a third chance, a fourth chance, a fifth chance. Sit your ass down. Okay, I know the guy behind you is going to get it right. So let's see what he's got. So we'll see. I'm not worried about it. And I would have been a little bit shaky if I didn't read earlier in the day that they were looking good. You know what I'm saying? So they obviously got whatever cobwebs they had. They got them out. So I feel good about it.
Well, as an athlete, and I remember, back when I was younger playing sports, especially for a wide receiver, you drop a pass or you have a bad game, they give you a week spring break to think about it. the whole time, I'm sure. And I'm sure they heard, the podcasts and the YouTube shows that they were probably being criticized. I'm sure they came out yesterday and today with a different mentality. That being said, I'm not worried about this group at all, to be honest with you. I think this is talent-wise, the best talent we've had in like 5 years. We had Jeff Thomas and Amon Richards at one point. That's the last time I could think of the talent was that good. But then Amon Richards, unfortunately, his career ended because of an injury. And Jeff Thomas, too inconsistent, has off the field issues. Yeah. But I don't see those issues with these guys. I think Brashard Smith has elite, goodbye speed.
I like that.
Yeah, he's just electric. He reminds me a little bit, maybe not the caliber of Percy Harvin, because Percy Harvin's one of the greatest college football players I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But he's like that type of electric if you get the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
Romello, like you said, great size. He can go up and get it. Jacoby, smooth in and out of routes.
So many.
Yeah.
I got the roster pulled up because I honestly can't. My favorite receiver on the roster is Romello. I love what he did at Northwestern. He's a Northwestern. Anytime we get a receiver from Northwestern, which isn't always the case, I have the highest expectations for them because to me that's one of the best, not one of the best, but in my opinion, like a top 3 high school in Florida. And it's just, you go to the West, you're supposed to be a baller at receiver, period. I love Romello. Keyshawn, everybody loves him, fan favorite. We just talked about X, Ladson. You talked about Brashard, Jacoby George. Daz Worsham is a guy to look out for. Redding, oh man, another guy that could be a red zone threat. Looking for him to break out. 3rd-year redshirt freshman. What am I missing? The other guy's a freshman coming in. That's talent on top of talent, man. And so, again, you got to get on that field. You got to push each other. And it's just exciting to know that you have another guy behind you if you're hurt, or as a fan, if you're hurt or you're not playing right, and you got the quarterback to get him there. You're right, bro. I think that receiving room is it could be a problem.
Yeah, man. I wanted to get to Chris's question because this is an interesting one. Do coaches make the schedules? I'm guessing he means head coaches. I don't know how that process works. I remember Manny saying that they were scheduled years in advance. I know non-conference games are scheduled like 5, 7, 8 years in advance sometimes. Right. Do you know anything more in detail about that? Like how that works by any chance?
I think that's more the AD than anything. I think not that they make the schedules because obviously, what conference you're in, at least 5 or 6 games that you're playing or 7, however many it is. But I think it's difficult to make out of conference games like that, especially the big ones. That's why they're made so far and ahead because, everybody wants to play a big time program at a conference, money or whatever going to be on national TV. So I think that's part of the reason why. But I think that's more of an AD thing in the athletic department than a coach because a coach already has a lot on his plate. This is me assuming, and I'm not saying that's the case, but I think that's the right way to go about it. I think that's the way that they go about it. And so this is Rad's first year here. And I don't know what we're scheduled out through now. I know we got to play UF. We got them coming up in 2024, 2025?
24 and 25. I'll check right now. Yeah.
And I think it's a home and home. I don't think it's one of those, we'll meet you halfway kind of deals.
Which is really a home game for them.
Right. But I think it's to answer the question. I think it's more the AD than anything.
Gotcha. Bring up the football schedule. It could be 23-24 actually for Florida. Let me double check that. And I know we got Notre Dame coming up. Yeah. I know we got Michigan State the Michigan State game, we were supposed to play them over there and it got moved.
Right. Well, we were supposed to go there. That was the COVID year. It got canceled or whatever. And then they were canceled. Yeah. And then they were giving us the payback trip last year in that game that we should have freaking won. But that home and home, that was that home and home. So I don't know if we're going to make it up. I don't know if we're going to go back to not go back, but go up there and make it up. I haven't heard anything, but we'll see. A&M, if we're playing them now, because I know we had a home and home with them back in the day. I remember we went up there and Greg Cooper had a big game and Streeter had a big game. And I think Ja'Cory Harris we beat them. And then they came here and we beat them, I think, on a Thursday night. I think Kyle Wright was a quarterback for that game.
And the Orange Bowl, I remember that.
The Orange Bowl. So I don't know if they're coming down here anytime soon.
Yeah, you got A&M over there. We got Miami of Ohio next year in 2023. Okay. Interesting.
Here?
Miami of Ohio is here. Yeah, it's probably a home and home. Temple over there, because we were supposed to play Temple as well this year, or in 2020.
Okay.
And then 2024, come on, load. Florida 2024 at Ben Hill Griffith Stadium. That is set for August 31st. So it's the opener of 2024.
I like that.
We better lay an ass whooping on them. Let me tell you.
It's going to be 41-16 all over. It's actually going to be, let me stop talking. I think it's going to be a really good game. Florida's
probably will be, yeah.
Yeah. They're they're doing whatever they can do over there as much as they can. The thing with their staff, and I didn't know this until like somebody had to bring it to my attention. I think it was Flo that brought it to my attention. He was saying that they got a lot of good coaches, a lot of good teachers up there, but they're not that great recruiting wise. They got a lot of NFL names and on the staff and this and that, but he doesn't know about them recruiting yet because they're NFL guys. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how that works out.
Right. And then finally, we got Notre Dame and Florida at home in 2025.
The same year?
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And that's around the time that we should be seeing the monster that is Miami Hurricanes football in full swing. So we'll see.
Oh, yes. That'll be when Colin Cowherd made a little joke that, hey, Miami's playing USC in basketball. It's a preview of the Natty in 3 years or something like that.
He's been dying for that. That guy, as much as I have a love and hate relationship with him because he's good, but he could be a little bit of a jerk sometimes. He loves when Miami's good. He loves when USC is good, and he's been dying for Miami to get back. So we'll see, man. I remember when we signed that 08 class from Northwestern, that same year, Texas had a great class, and I'm thinking, damn, Texas, Miami sounds like a good natty in a couple of years. It never happened, but hopefully we get that East-West. That would be that, man. Oh my God, Miami USC for the natty, that would be crazy. That
would be insane. That would feel like a Super Bowl, seriously, because those are like that rivalry just makes sense. It's a rivalry that never really happened.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Let's take a couple more questions before we get out of here. Juan Del Osa says, what are you guys expecting this year out of Avonte Williams? I'm expecting all ACC play out of Avonte Williams. I don't know about you.
Yeah. I was at the game. I was at the Georgia Tech game when he caught his interception. And if I put a visor on him and a number 20 on him with no name on the back of the jersey, you would think it's Ed Reed because he looked like Ed Reed out there.
Mm-hmm.
He looked like Ed Reed out there. The way that he scans the field, the way that he anticipates stuff, and then the actual interception in that game was acrobatic as hell. He came over the receiver, kind of turned in the air, caught it. It was great. It was a great, great catch. So I 100%, that dude has all ACC written all over him.
Yes. Thank you, Les. Don't forget to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. I remember being at that game. The crowd got a little louder because I think they all knew who it was that caught that interception. Like the crowd went a little crazier for Avonte because they knew who it was.
Right.
Which shows our fan base is a little more knowledgeable than you think. We get a lot of crap. Miami fans, they're not. And yes, we don't show up to games, but it doesn't help that it's 87 miles away from campus.
I know. Hopefully this talk with everything at Tropical is true. I'm not getting excited for it because I don't think there's anything to get excited for, like concrete yet.
Mm-hmm.
Do I believe these guys and their plans? Yeah, but we'll see whatever pushback they get from the county and everything. But that would be, oh my God, it would be ideal.
Yeah, man. I think I know the county pushes back. Anything like that, there's going to be some pushback, I think, politically and stuff. Naturally, that happens. But
right.
I would love to say I've been a huge proponent of them going to Tropical Park for years. Ever since Zoe first said it, this is like close to 10 years ago now when he first started mentioning it. It's been a while because I live here. You live in Dade as well, like I do.
Mm-hmm.
I drive by Tropical Park a lot. There's so much unused empty space there. They can there's already a 7,000 seat high school stadium there.
Exactly.
The footprint is there already.
It's there. And I get, people saying access wise, oh my God, it'll be terrible. Yes, it'll be awful.
6 times a year.
Weekends out of the year.
6 Saturdays a year. That's it. Like, that's what you're complaining about? That many times a year, man. Out of 365.
That's it. Because they're not going to have the Orange Bowl game is not going to be there. So you don't have to worry about that. It's just, I don't know, man. Like you said, and I don't think tailgating is going to be a problem either because you're at a park. You know what I'm saying? You're at a park. There's going to be plenty of places to tailgate. And I know for a fact that if it hasn't already been discussed, probably hasn't, but that transportation, like for the local people that actually live close by, I don't think that's going to be as much of an issue because if you think about it, UM is going to provide transportation for its students and, whatever. That's not going to be an issue. I bet your butt South Miami High School is going to be a parking place where you can catch shuttles and stuff. It makes too much sense for it not to happen because South Miami High School is right down the street from Tropical Park on Miller Drive on 56th Street. So it's right there. And I just think it makes too much sense. Whatever, man. This is me dreaming. Maybe I should stop.
Yeah. South Miami High School, Southwest High School is right by there. No, agreed. Let's see what Birdstone's question is. John and Mike off the wall question. How many all ACC performers do we have this year? Player of the year, first team, second team. Yeah. So end of the season, when it's all said and done, 2022 is over. How many all conference guys do we have?
Yeah. We're not going to have an all conference running back. I can tell you that right now. First team, no. Why? Because number one, I don't think we're not going to have a guy to eclipse 1,000 because I think we're going to have 3 running backs sniffing 500 yards, at least 2. All right. I do think that's going to happen. So with those numbers, you're not going to get that. Hopefully it's Rooster and Cheney or Parrish, whoever. They can figure that out. Van Dyke for sure. I think Ladson's going to be up there. Okay. And I pray, again, an unpopular guy amongst the fans, but this is it for Mallory. Like there's no excuse for that guy. He has all the tools and everything. He can be that guy. We'll see. That's offense. And on defense, Tyreek should be first, second, third, somewhere in there, right? If he wasn't already last year, maybe honorable mention, I'm not sure. Couch can be, depending on how much he plays, I guess, maybe. And Taylor, why not Taylor and James Williams? All young guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure Williams and Taylor, for sure. Avonte, maybe even Cam Kinchins, the way he played as a freshman. It's hard to argue that. So you got like 4 guys there. Offense, TBD, obviously. Mallory, I think Arroyo, not because Mallory sucks or anything, he's a very, very good tight end. Arroyo's going to take snaps from him because of his blocking.
100%.
And if he just, he had a little bit of an issue hanging onto the ball against Georgia Tech, but one of those I thought he was down, but whatever. That guy could, by the end of the season, be the starter.
And we saw him at Flo's event. The guy looks like a refrigerator. He's a wall. He's huge. And if I was to pick a lineman or 2, I'm thinking Ja'Kai Clark and or Jalen Rivers. Maybe Zion Nelson, because I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I was 100% like, when people were talking about him being a first rounder. I was like, where did that come from? Not saying that it can't happen. Not saying that he's a crappy player. I just didn't see it. You know what I'm saying? But Rivers is that dude, and Ja'Kai Clark is a smart football player that wants to win. So I think those 2 are going to be our best linemen offensively this year.
Oh, for sure. And then you got Sagapolo, the transfer, who I think, the coaches love. That's why they wanted him down here. But yeah, of those 3 guys, though, Jalen Rivers for sure. Just stay healthy. He's all conference, maybe even All-American. Like I see a lot of like Vernon Carey in him, like that kind of guard. Yeah,
and he has that SEC girth for lack of a better phrase. He's massive. He's a big dude.
Yeah, man. Let's see if there's any more questions. Come on, 100 watching. Yes, please hit that like button. We'll be on a couple more minutes, guys. We'll try to field one more question. Let me see if I got any. Oh, here's a good question to end on. So every year, maybe not every year is not quite the same, but every off season we always get pretty excited by any little thing, and there's always hype going into the season. Most years. This year obviously is different. If you had to explain to, I'm sure you've had to already explain to a detractor or a hater or a non-UM fan. I mean, you say this every year. Why is this year different? Why does this year feel different? Like, I know why, but tell the people, why do you think it feels different?
It has nothing to do with the players. It has everything to do with it starting from the top and a mentality that filters down from the bottom. Because like the saying goes, you know, what is something about a snake, you kill it from the head or something like that. In the past couple of years, and now that, you know, the past regimes are gone, you kind of hear like, oh, look, this happened, and look, this was true, or whatever. It was a leadership thing that started from the top, and they weren't great qualities. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's terrible, because if you got people underneath you saying, oh, we can get away with this, oh, we can do this, oh, coach doesn't mind this, bad habits are contagious. All right. And good habits can be, but they're not as easily contagious as bad ones are, especially if you can get away with them. Right. And so, you know, seniors are running things and getting away with murder and playing, even though they were getting away with murder. I'm sorry, but this is not the stat that's going to happen with. So to answer your question, like, it's a mentality from the top. If I was to ever be able to ask Coach Crystal Ball a question, it would be this. It would be, you played here, you're coaching here now for the second time. We all know the phrase Miami guy, all right? Is being a Miami guy, is that something that you can see off rip? Like, you see it, he has it, that's a Miami guy. And if he doesn't have it, can it be taught? And I'm going to put all of that together, because these guys, I think they have the Miami guy in them, all right? And the ones that don't have it, I think that not necessarily that it'll be taught, but it'll be contagious. It'll feed off of them, because you can't tell me that Jake Garcia isn't from Miami. I'm sorry. All right. If I'm hanging around him, I'm thinking he's from Miami. To me, he should have transferred to Northwestern instead of Georgia, because the dude bleeds Miami, right? And so it's things like that. And if everybody is on the same page, I don't know why that people that follow sports think that the intangibles isn't as important as talent. Okay. All right. Chemistry is a real thing on and off the field. Being on the same page with your coaching staff, knowing and accepting, not just knowing it, but accepting your role is huge. All right. That's how they won in 01. All right. You didn't hear Winslow, you didn't hear Sean Taylor, you didn't hear Vince Wilfork, all backups crying for more snaps. They knew their role, they accepted it. If that happens, when it happens, that's going to be it. And I think that's the difference, because that hasn't been the case with Golden, with Richt. As much as I loved Richt, with Manny, it wasn't the case with Shannon. It wasn't the case with Coker, for crying out loud, because the players ran that team. All right. We haven't seen this since Butch, if we're being real. We haven't seen a mentality and a focus from the coaches since Butch.
I can't say it better myself. You said it perfectly. It's the mentality, and it's from the top to the bottom. Yeah. Absolutely. Let me hit Sasha Cooper's. I posted it earlier. I didn't mention it. Thank you so much for the donation. Really appreciate it. Great show. Old time Canes fan. Go Canes. Thank you, sir. And you know what? This will be the last question, because Alex is typing in caps, yelling at us. Do you feel like the staff for the off the field role coaches is complete? Do you think they're going to hire more analysts, or do you think this is pretty much set?
Is there a number on how many analysts you could have?
I don't think so. I think, well, if there's a cap, I think there's less of a cap on the analysts. There's a cap on field coaches. I think it's right. 10 or 11, something like that.
Yeah, or 11. Yeah, the position coaches and all that, that's complete. I mean, I think the last one was field, right? That's like official. I think the last one was that. And I love the staff. So no more coaching staff hires there. And I wouldn't be surprised. Look, if Mario thinks, like, I hardly blindly trust people, but I am blindly trusting Mario. And if he thinks that, oh, this guy can help me, he's going to bring him on, period. Mario's going to look at the guys that Mario's brought around him. He's bringing guys that know as much and more than him. You know what I'm saying? So he's not scared of learning even at this age just because he's the head coach or saying, oh, okay, I'll consider that, or whatever, or you're right. If he thinks that somebody can help this program in whatever capacity, he's going to bring them on. And so knowing that Mario is 2 and 3 steps ahead, look how quick he replaced T-Rob. I mean, come on. I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody else come on. So,
yeah. Zoe and Reed, 2 possible names. Hope to see. I'll take one of them, especially the first one.
right.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So we're at right at an hour. I think we'll cap it there. I meant to go 45, 50 minutes, but the last 10 minutes flew by.
Anytime, bro. I mean, I didn't even know it was an hour. I wasn't even looking at the clock there. But we talk. I could be talking Kings probably with anyone, and I'm sure it's just the same with you.
Yeah.
And it's just like, holy it's an hour. Like, damn.
Yeah. All right, man. So obviously, again, congrats on the continued success for you. People can find you. There's your handle right there, Radio Mike. You always have good stuff, especially, football, basketball, all things sports. So go follow him if you don't already. Please hit the subscribe button on your way out. And as always, guys, let me try to time this with the end broadcast button, because you hit the end broadcast button and it's like 7 or 8 seconds later. It's really weird, but let me hit it now. As always, go Canes, guys.